This is going to be a hard topic for some people, but weed brain is quite the drug, and I think I've discovered why Denny's Camp's works are so bad and so just insufferable all the way around. And it seems it's because the guy is completely addicted to marijuana on a level where he's got his own classification for weed strength, where it includes can't move, which is means he's smoking a little too much there. So we're going to get into this in just a moment. This guy has been hired to write the Ultimates for Marvel, to write for the Absolute Universe for DC Comics. He's being propped up as a diversity hire. The Ultimates really has been panned by a lot of critics because of its just weird anti-white racist bent, which I'm surprised they did with one of the main books in the line. The Ultimates, of course, when the Ultimate line launched in the early 2000s, really propelled Marvel to new heights under Mark Millar's stewardship. So to see this done with the title is really, really sad to watch. We're going to get into all of it and what's going on with Marvel Comics in just a moment. Smash that like and subscribe button. Get us there. And we're getting close to 10,000 subscribers. And I appreciate you as we talk about all things comics on here. And I am a comic writer myself. Of course, I've been targeted by the mainstream industry quite a bit because I write good books that they can't. And if they should hire anybody to write the Ultimates, it probably should be me, to be honest, at this juncture. But they never will. I'm blacklisted, and it's because I write good books and I don't put identity politics into it. This is going to be something that you enjoy. If you're a classic comic book fan, if you like the way things used to be back in the day, this is high-action adventure. It's called the Emerald Array. It's a team of space marines fighting against demonic bug monsters who are attacking a human colony in space. And I really appreciate you for checking this out. It's a 66-page graphic novel, and we are bringing it back, guys. So if you love the classic Marvel comics, do grab this. This will have that feel for you for sure. Get us to 300 backers today. It's in the description below, and I appreciate you for backing and supporting our comics and independent work. All right. So Marvel and DC Comics have one man who's writing for both their relaunch universes, with Deniz Camp penning the Ultimates and Absolute Martian Manhunter. However, the writer is so addicted to marijuana, he admits he has a weed strength classification system, including one where he can't move. And you can see this guy. A hallmark of modern comics is degeneracy and disordered lifestyles among those who call themselves comic book professionals. While once it would be a scandal for someone to be openly pushing drug use while writing children's superheroes, now it's cheered on within the industry, and I'd say it's probably more the norm than anything else, because these guys don't make a lot of money. They're typically depressed. They typically have problems. A lot of them are mentally ill. We've seen this with Mark Waid, with Mags Visaggio. There's obviously issues with a lot of these people, and they hire just all their buddies who are in this same situation. So Deniz Camp has many fans already question his work, with his Ultimate runs being a non-subtle attack on white people, a strange move that should be a prestige title within their line. And back in the 2000s, the Ultimates and Ultimate Spider-Man were launched, and it was like a refresh of the Marvel Universe, trying to get new young people in on it, and actually just doing a new version of Spider-Man, which is like, bringing him back to his youth and things like that. And it created this whole universe, and Ultimate Spider-Man was hyper successful, of course. The Ultimates was hyper successful as well, and actually spawned the Avengers movie out of that because of what that was done there. Now, the new modern iteration is not for modern readers. It's like a weird, warped universe that's like an Elseworlds where nobody had powers and there's problems going on. It's a dark universe. And so, like, new readers are really not the target demographic of this. It's still doing very, very well, as the old readers were brought in for Ultimate Spider-Man under Jonathan Hickman, and they basically gave Spider-Man readers what they wanted, which they're not doing in the main line. Peter Parker's married with children. That's all people have ever asked, and they just won't do it in Amazing Spider-Man for whatever reason. Well, that became the best-selling book of the year, despite DC claiming otherwise, and Absolute Batman's much the same. It's a warped alternate universe where it doesn't really feel like Batman, not good for new readers, and that's their bestseller too, just because like people are starved for content that's like not a screwed up version of this mainline universe where they've just messed everything up with their wokeness. Now, Deniz Camp was brought in to do the Ultimates, and you would expect maybe the Ultimates would be something interesting. And of course, the first issue seemed all right, but then it became a weird thing. You saw immediately that this became being a diversity deal. In the second issue, they brought in America Chavez, and of course, Captain America goes, "A great injustice was done to you, but things will be better now." And he says, "Can you remember your name?" And she replies, "America." And so, this is a not very subtle line saying that America has been an injustice and things will be better now. it's obviously under the Democrats and their woke agenda is what they thought, because this was before the Trump victory made all these people cry and go to blue sky. But this got weirder as the Hulk was then revealed to be this weird Polynesian lady. And she calls the Avengers, or the Ultimates, intruders and colonizers and the like. And she introduces her Hulk army of disabled BIPOCs. So, and during this entire deal, they just go off about how they don't want the Ultimates there. They don't want America there. It's a clear attack on white people. It's a clear attack on America. And it's very, very bizarre to do this with the Ultimates with Captain America at the lead. Of course, it's just a weird political rant. And this is why this book is just so bad and insufferable. But then it gets even worse once it gets into issue number 5. As he goes, there's been a lot of questions about Charlie's gender. And I'm wary to talk about this stuff outside the book itself. It feels like cheating, but I know it means a lot to people, so I wanted to make a comment. And of course, then he introduces the transgender Hawkeye, who's a Native American, and that's the deal. So yes, Charlie's pronouns are they, them. I didn't want to make a deal of it because it's not in the book itself, and I didn't want Charlie to make a big deal out of it in the context, but we'll make it explicit when it's natural to the narrative. Now, clearly, it was left out of the book itself because the editors were like, guys, if we do this with Hawkeye, if we they, them in the book, this is going to cause such controversy because nobody wants this done to Hawkeye. And so we're going to leave this out because this is one of our better mainline books kind of at this point with the Ultimates. And so we got to leave that out. But of course he makes it clear and he pushes it out there and he pushes the agenda anyway. So this is who he is. And this is why. And so I was like, wow, why is this guy so cringe? Like, why does he think any of this is a good idea? Because it's clearly bad ideas that are going to hamper sales, that are going to hurt the Marvel brand, that are going to hurt his brand as a writer, and of course creates bad stories, which is the Ultimates has been so far. It's just been an absolute travesty to even try to read through that slog of a mess that he's concocted here. I hope Jonathan Hickman is overseeing it at some point so it could save it, but I'm not holding my breath on that. So this is why he's like this, because weed does make you have a lot of bad ideas. When you smoke too much weed, you get paranoid, you have ideas that you think are great, you're like, whoa, this would be cool, man, whoa, and it's very much not cool to those who are not high with you, because they're not high. That's the whole deal that's happening here. So you can see how addicted he is, because this is crazy. He goes, my friends and I invented our own weed strength classification system. It went from casual, so Kaz, you could smoke it constantly without being too much, too formal, or a formal affair. There's formal affairs of smoking weed. What the heck? To black tie. Black tie is can't move, which means he often smokes weed that you can't move as his own classification system for doing drugs. This is pretty wild for a Marvel writer to do, again, and a DC writer to do. Again, these are really children's superheroes that have been aimed at adults now for a lot of years because they're not trying to capture the next generation anymore. And so just imagine being a parent walking into a store and grabbing this weird book of where you got they, them, Hawkeye, and then you look the guy up and you're like, oh my gosh, he's this degenerate drug user. Cool. That's exactly what's going on. I'm going to adopt this. It makes too much sense as one of his fans. There's no negative judgment with Kaz. So no negative judgment with just smoking weed. Either sometimes you're with friends, just want to be smoking and not get smacked. But sometimes he does want to get smacked, I guess. We really appreciate Kaz in the right situation. So he's caveating, if you don't want to do your drugs too extreme, we're cool with that. I'm not judging you, bro. As if that's somehow the moral spot versus the other way around, which is doing drugs is the moral situation that's a problem here. Again, this is just open in public. This is what Marvel and DC is promoting at this point. It's great. The older I get, the more respect I have for Kaz, especially as it's more social. You're not so smacked you can't talk, but you're constantly passing it around. I have a lot of love for Kaz. So this is just his way of talking about weed smoking. And yeah, it starts to make sense. Why would you think this is a good idea to write? Obviously, the person's high writing this. And that is a massive problem with Marvel Comics right now, that we're just scratching the surface of just how degenerate these companies are, guys. It's a real disaster. Marvel and DC Comics are not what they used to be, are not the creative giants they used to be, very clearly. And that's why we are fighting back by making our own works. So what do you think about this? Leave a comment down below, hit the like and subscribe button, and please check out the Emerald Array. This is good classic fiction. And it is it's intelligent, it's fun. It's something that you can love and enjoy with the whole family. Grab it in the description below, and thank you guys for supporting us. We'll be back soon.